viewers. Fellow Guyanese, I'm very pleased today to provide an update as to what is happening at the National Recount, but also I would like to address a few other issues that a lot of Guyanese would have been raising with me personally or on Facebook, or they would have raised with our other leaders who are conducting Zoom outreaches, if you want to put it that way. These are concerns as it relates to our response to COVID-19 and also in preparation of moving our country forward and ensuring that we are ready to move on a platform that would stabilize our country as quickly as possible. So these are three issues I want to look at. But I would like to bring you up to date with what is happening in the National Recount. As you're aware, since our meeting with GCOM, we have seen improvement as a result of the introduction of the two new stations in terms of the output of boxes completed every day. Nonetheless, we would like to see greater improvement in Region 4, where the majority of boxes are. We are still concerned that Region 4 continues to move at a slower pace than the other regions. However, we are confident that in reviewing the exercise as of today, the GCOM chair and the commission, in keeping with their concerns and with their target of achieving 100 boxes, at least 100 boxes per day, would be making some new announcements, because we continue to push for additional stations, and not only additional stations, but additional stations dedicated to Region 4, so that we can bring Region 4 in at a faster rate, not compromising transparency, of course, and not compromising our ability to count in an accountable manner. Now, this morning we released some data in relation to 87 boxes from District Number 4, and this data is as of the 21st of March 2020, so that is yesterday. So as of yesterday, 24.23% of the total boxes in Region 4 would have been completed. Out of the total boxes completed in Region 4, which amounts to 213 approximately, or 24.23%, we have in 87 of those boxes some of Mingo's fraud to share with the population. In 87 of these boxes, for the APNU AFC, the SOP that we posted online showed that they had 10,036 votes. In the SOR, in the corresponding SOR, that is a statement of recount in this recount process, they have 10,039 votes. So in the SOP, 10,036. In the SOR, 10,039. However, in Mingo's fraudulent declaration, they have 14,534, which would have meant that in these 87 boxes, Mingo inflated the votes for the APNU AFC by 4,495 in just these 87 boxes. Now for the People's Progressive Party Civic. In these 87 boxes, in the statement of poll that is out there, we had 10,454 votes. In the statement of recount, that is from the recount process now, in the corresponding boxes, we have 10,475 votes. So in the SOP, 10,454. In the SOR, 10,475. According to Mingo's fraudulent declaration, he gave the PPPC 9,722 votes. He reduced the votes of the People's Progressive Party by 758, whilst increasing the votes of the APNU AFC by 4,495. And this is only from 87 boxes in District number 4, in District number 4, where as of yesterday, 24.23% of the boxes for that district would have been counted. So that is one of the issues, again, demonstrating to the population and the international community that we are mingled. That is the new term now, all over the Caribbean. One of my friends from Trinidad said he went to the market, and when he got his change, he was mingled. So we have here the results, we have the facts, we have the evidence to demonstrate to the Guyanese population what took place in District number 4. Having said that, we continue to push for the additional stations so that this recount process can be completed not far off the 25 days. In our discussions with GCOM, we made it clear that the PPC is willing to examine not more than 7 days extension. We are pleased that yesterday 87 boxes were achieved. It shows that with additional stations, we can easily get up to that 100 boxes target by GCOM. Today, as of 3:30 p.m., that is a few minutes ago, we have about 72 boxes completed and in progress. Those are boxes 72, either completed or in progress. So as of 3:30, we have 72. So we are of the firm view with the additional station that we will be able to achieve the target not far away from 25 days. We continue to urge Guyanese to stay plugged in, stay tuned in, and let us look at things from a factual perspective. Let us not be swayed by propaganda. As Guyanese, we have a responsibility to Guyana. We have a responsibility to move forward after this process. And in ensuring we move forward in a collective way, in an inclusive way, we have to ensure that we are mature, disciplined, responsible in the way we process information, in the way we try to pull our country together. So I'm calling on all those leaders who are trying to change the narrative to come on board. Let us move past this process. Let us give the facts to the population, and let us take our country forward, move our country forward. In this regard, I would like to address some issues as it relates to COVID-19. First of all, I'm very pleased that Guyanese will be able to return home. A lot of Guyanese are out there in various cities and countries, and they have been suffering. They have been going through very, very rough circumstances. However, the criteria used for the return of the Guyanese are criteria that can also be used for the return of the international observers. I am of the strong view that with a strong public health criteria, there is no rationale and there is no reason to deny international observers the right to be here. And I say the right because we are part of a global community. We are part of an international community. We don't operate in a vacuum. We don't operate in isolation of what is taking place in the rest of the world. We are signatories to many, many agreements. We are signatories to international standards as it relates to democratic norms, good governance. We are part of the global community. We are part of the OAS. We are part of the UN. And we have a responsibility to ensure that we do not deny these agencies to be part of the democratic framework of our country. And it is critical at this time because of what took place in District Number 4. So that is one issue. The other issue as it relates to COVID-19, I'm very pleased and I want to thank the National Stakeholders Forum for all the work they did and continue to do. However, Guyanese, members of the civil society and private sector, we are faced with a very difficult situation. I am making a personal appeal for us to assess what is taking place at the community level, especially in areas that have been heavily affected from an economic standpoint. There are areas where forestry played a key role in putting food on the table for people. I'm speaking here only about food. Where bauxite played an important role. Where sugar played an important role. People are without jobs in many of these communities long before COVID. And it is at a not boiling point, but I can say to you that we have many, many Guyanese families who are experiencing hunger at this moment. And every single day from the National Stakeholders Forum, we are receiving requests from communities all across the country for food items, food hampers. I want to say that it is overwhelming sometimes. And I would say that we don't have the capacity. Of course, we're not in government at this moment. But I want to call upon the stakeholders, the international community, to do their own assessment as to what is taking place on the ground. And for these agencies to work directly with the communities. The National Stakeholders Forum remain open in working with all stakeholders to bring relief. Not only are they facing difficulties in relation to food and food supplies, but we have, especially from the vulnerable section of our society, access to social services. We have to be able to address this issue immediately, where we can free up the costs, not saying making it free, but we can look at freeing up the costs associated with acquiring social services, especially under the circumstances where our children have to write the CSEC examinations. They're required to be on the internet. They're required to use the internet. They're required to have data plan. They're required to have data plans. Many of the families who are in that vulnerable group, they can't afford their electricity. So we have to ensure that we assess our population ability to access social services at this time. I would say that we have to work closer with the religious community and civil society in reaching out to these communities, providing counseling services, ensuring that Guyanese families do not go to sleep hungry. Many families from overseas, Guyanese families from overseas, who would normally help and support their families here, they too are faced with tremendous challenges over there. Their circumstances has been heavily affected. So remittances also will be affected. And we have been receiving calls from many families over there to reach out to their families over here. It is a real situation. It is a real situation that is not getting better as the day goes by. So we also need to have clarity as it relates to a structured and phased approach to the reopening of our economy and country. We need to have a structure, an understanding as to what we are looking at in the next 2 months or 3 months as we open back our economy, as we open back services, so that persons who are working, for example, in the services sector, in the hotel industry, they can understand the time frame they're looking at before they can return to work. Employers and businesses can understand the time frame before they can reopen their doors. Of course, reopening also would have its own redefinition under the circumstances. So we need to have clarity and a structured and phased approach to the reopening. Trinidad and Tobago has issued a very clear guideline and approach, and this is critically needed at this stage. We have to have clear definition of strategies and policies that we're going to adopt to support businesses, support employers and employees, support people going back to work, support persons who have loans at the bank, support to the different segments and sectors of our society. We need clarity on this too. We need defined strategies. We need to have a clear understanding of the set of measures that will be implemented so that the collective body of businesses, employees, workers, everyone can know what is the menu of measures in moving forward. In preparing for government, as you're aware, we have also launched a special committee that is looking at the budget so that we can hit the ground running. In our initial assessment, it is clear that immediately we'll have to have an interim budget. An interim budget to take us through the short term whilst we prepare for a full and comprehensive budget later in the year. The focus in the interim budget must be and will be on stabilizing our economy, ensuring that we have welfare programs for the vulnerable especially, support to the natural resources sector, forestry, mining, bauxite, ensuring we get these sectors back up and running so that the employment can be created, the productive capacity of our country can be enhanced. Once the productive capacity of our country is enhanced and people move back to work, it helps in the economy. We know what is taking place in forestry, bauxite, mining, for example. And so we'll have a menu of measures to support the natural resources sector. Then we have to have measures to support the agricultural sector, not only looking at production, but many farmers today are faced with the challenges of going back to the crop because of the market itself, because of the economic situation surrounding the last crop. There are hundreds of farmers who left their entire production in the field because the market was not there and the price was not there, so it was not even profitable to reap the crop. Acres of pumpkin, edos, left in the field, peppers. So definitely the farmers will be having challenges in going back to the crop. So these are all issues that we have to address in that interim budget. We have to stimulate the construction sector. Once the construction sector gets going, daily workers, employment is created, and resources flows through the economy. We have to work on wealth creation initiative. Whilst we do all of this, we will have to mobilize international support in addressing COVID-19 challenges. We have seen that support has already been earmarked for many countries from international funding agencies. But because of the situation we are faced with here politically, Guyana did not receive support. So we will have to turn back the hands of the clock and negotiate with these international agencies to have international support in addressing the challenges of COVID-19 and financing some of these measures in returning our economy to stability. We will have to accelerate our capital expenditure. We will have to intensify and follow it. We will have to ensure that we intensify and follow up on foreign investment, local capacity, and public-private partnership in terms of new investment, creating new jobs, new opportunities on the economy, creating back that buzz around our economy, creating back the confidence for international investors, for local investors, and supporting that confidence with the right menu of policies and measures in taking our country forward. All of this would have to be done in a framework of reshaping our economy in a COVID-19 environment. So we are already taking all of these challenges and all that is taking place in our economy, in the environment we are operating, into consideration with the aim of moving quickly from day one to stabilize our country and bring benefit to the Guyanese people. So, my fellow Guyanese, I am pleased to bring this update to you today. We will continue to engage with you. We will continue to keep you in the loop, if I may use that term, because it is important that all Guyanese are in the loop if we are to move forward with a common agenda, with a common understanding, and with a common hope of a better Guyana tomorrow. Please, stay safe, and God bless you.